Hey everyone, hope you all are well. I'm starting off by priming the eye area, and to do that I'm using the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion. I'm adding a few swipes of this across the eye area, and then I'm using a synthetic brush just to tap and blend that primer into the skin anywhere that I'll be adding eyeshadow. And this just helps the eyeshadows to go on nice and smoothly, to blend nice and easily, and last all day long as well. So I'm reaching back for that Wet n Wild palette again, the one that I used last week. It's called Cosmic Collision, and I've so many looks that I could do with this palette. It's great, it's affordable, and it's fantastic quality. So the first shade I'm using today is that large transition shade. It's a nice warm, I suppose almost yellow toned brown, and I'm using a Sigma E25 blending brush just to add a rough layer of this colour into the crease. So I'm starting on the outer portion of the crease, blending back and forward, making my way across to the inner corner and using circular motions then just to blend it out. And I'm really pulling that shadow out at an angle towards the tail of the brow just to blow out this look so that it's going to be really soft and smoky. So once I've gotten the first layer down there, I know my shape, I know what I'm working with, so it's all about intensifying the colour now. So this doesn't have to be perfect at this stage because this shadow is going to appear just like a halo over the others. It'll be barely seen in the finished look, it'll just be a hint of colour, but it does just help the other shades that we are going to apply to transition just that little bit smoother. Next then, I'm taking the other transition shade in the palette. It's a much deeper, more red toned brown, and it has a matte finish to it as well, like the previous shade. So I'm just using this to start to add some more structure and depth to the look. I've placed my brush down on the outer third of the crease, and now I'm working on moving that colour around. I'm pulling it across into the crease, and I'm going to make sure that it's really blended out. It's really nice and soft and faded. So these shadows are really pigmented, as you can see, so do pick up just a little bit on your brush at a time. Tap off any excess product before you apply to the eye area because this will limit fallout, and just work on building up that shadow in light layers, and that way you can't go wrong. So I'll just keep using circular and windshield wiper motions. I'll go over and back until I'm happy with the blend. I'm now taking the NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil in Slate, and I'm using this as a base for the shimmery lid shades. So I'm just running the pencil back and forward across the lash line area, warming up that pencil so that it's nice and creamy, and then I'm taking another small synthetic brush, as these work best with cream products. This is just one of the double-ended brushes that came with the Urban Decay Naked Cyber palette, and I'm patting and pressing and pulling that pencil up and coating the entire lid. So you don't need a whole lot of product, which is why I didn't draw the pencil all over the lid. I kept it to the lash line area, and then I can blend it out from there and coat the entire eyelid area. So next then I'm going to reach for a flat C-shaped brush. This is just from Blank Canvas Cosmetics, and I'm picking up that beautiful dark green, that shimmery shadow, and I'm going to start to pack and press this down over the top of that pencil. I've spritzed my brush with some water, and the combination of that and the base and the primer will just ensure that the shadow adheres nicely to the lid and it appears as pigmented as possible. And as you can see, despite the texture of the shadow, I've no fallout, so prep steps are really important. I am now taking the dark green, the one that's next to the shimmery one, and I'm using a smaller brush for this step. I'm using the Sedona Lace EB09 Universal Blending Brush, and I'm starting by tapping this shadow down on the outer edge of the eyelid, and then I'm using circular motions just to loop this shadow up into and across the crease. And with this shadow, I'm really going to take my time layering it up. It's a darker shade, so I'm going to pick up less product on my brush at a time, as it's very easy to go wrong with a colour like this and over apply, and you don't want to spoil any of the work that we've done up until this point. So start with just a little at a time, and you can always add more. It's easier to do that than to try and remove some if you've over applied. So I'm really just working on adding and blending some more and really blowing it out on that outer edge. I want this look to be dramatic and pack a punch, but still be soft and smoky at the same time. When you are pulling the shadow out on the outer edge of the eye, and if you feel it's getting a little bit messy and you want to clean it up, but you don't want to use something like a makeup wipe that'll give you a very sharp defined edge, take a little bit of translucent face powder on a brush and just run it alongside the area that you're having a problem with. So I'm taking this from the outer edge of the eye, angling towards the tail of my brow, and this just sort of cleans things up and defines things, but in a soft manner, if that makes sense. So for the final bit of depth then, I'm going in with some black, and because we've been building and layering our colours up from light to dark, you don't need a whole lot of this. So I'm just using a small C-shaped brush to tap this down on the outer corner of the eye. I'm tapping it along the lash line area on the outer third, and then I'm sweeping it up slightly into the crease, making a little sort of C shape, and then I'm just running the brush back and forward over the areas just to really blend this product out. So we're nearly there now. We're going to move down to the lower lash line, and I've just taken up that dark green shadow, and I'm using a small bullet shaped brush just to apply this all the way down along the lower lash line. And as you can see, despite using a densely packed bristled brush, the colour of the shadow is actually lighter in comparison to the shadow that's on the lid, initially anyway, and that's just the power of a dark base. The dark base can actually really transform a shadow, but I didn't want to go to the hassle of applying it down along the lower lash line area. I didn't think there was any need, so I'm just adding a few layers to ensure that green packs a punch. Once I've taken it from the outer to inner corner, I'm taking a small touch of that black eyeshadow once again on that C-shaped brush, and I'm wriggling this into the lash bed on the outer portion of the eye, blending it about, I suppose, halfway across the eye area. Once I'm happy enough then with how that looks, making sure that it connects up on that outer edge, I'm then taking a liner. This one is from NARS. It's called Grafton Street. It's one of the high pigment liners. It's the only high-end product I've used. I've tried to keep this very much a budget-based beauty look. But I ran this along the inside of the waterline, just coating that area. I've added some of the eye lower lashes in the style 117, and now I'm using the new telescopic lift from L'Oreal just to blend my own lashes in with the false ones and to also coat the bottom lashes as well. This really is great for lift, as the product name suggests. It's one of my favourites. I used to use the telescopic in my teens, and now I'm just using the really light shimmery shade on a pencil brush around the tear duct of the eye and slightly underneath the arch of the brow to add a nice pop and lift to those areas, and that's it. So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. I hope you found it helpful and easy to follow. If you did, please do let me know, and I'll catch you all really soon.